the reader inside the mind of the characters and gives his or her own comments also. So, if we compare direct and indirect interior monologue, I think direct is quite better because the reader can feel what is going on into the character's mind, can feel that sensation, can feel that thought, can see what is going on in the character's mind. But as far as indirect interior monologue is concerned, here the author is the mediator. The author works as a bridge between the readers and the ideas, thoughts, images that goes through the mind of the character. Now I would request Urvashi madam to go for the characteristics of the stream of consciousness novel.
Can we have the slide, please? Characteristics of stream of consciousness novel. There are major three characteristics we are going to discuss. The first of them is the revelation of the character's hidden recesses of ever-changing consciousness. Second one is narrative replaces the plot. And the third one is exploration of pre-speech level of consciousness. Let us discuss all these 3 points in detail one by one. So first, can we have the next slide, please? The first one, the revelation of the character's hidden recesses of ever-changing consciousness. The novelist takes us to the hidden recesses of the character's mind. These reveal to us what is happening in the mind of the characters. This cuts down the old barriers between the reader and the novelist characters. See, what is revelation means here? The revelation of the character's hidden mind. Hidden minds means it always, when we are talking, like right now I am giving lecture, but there may be something in my mind, so it is hidden. So when the writer is using this technique, he reveals the whatever is hidden in the minds of the character, right? That is what the writer wants to tell. There is obviously an immense gain in intimacy and immediacy. We know Bloom and Dorothy Richardson's Miriam in a way we know no characters. So what happens that in general narrative modes, the character is depicted by the author. We don't know what is really going on in the minds of the character. But here, when we are speaking of the stream of consciousness narrative, whatever is depicted is the character himself, whatever is thought coming, the way, the series in which it is coming, it is happening right now in the mind of the character, right? And which generally is not depicted by the author in the other novels, in the other modes. That is what the revelation of the character's hidden recesses of ever-changing consciousness. Now, I would like to discuss here one more thing, that ever-changing consciousness. Why the consciousness is called ever-changing? Sir, would you like to tell anything? See, what happens that, as we have discussed earlier, that in our consciousness, it is not something steady. No thought is steady. Nothing, every moment, every second, something is going on in our mind, right? And in stream of consciousness, the thoughts, the series of the thoughts is depicted in the same manner as they are coming to the minds of the characters. So, generally, if it is not the stream of consciousness novel, it is not depicted in that manner, right? It is depicted according to the whatever is the writer thinking, that whether these should be there, and that will be the thought of the writer and not the character. Here what happens, that it is described as the thought of the character himself. So it is the part of the consciousness of the character himself or herself, right? That is the revelation of the character's hidden recesses of ever-changing consciousness. Let's read that again, sir. The slide, please. The novelist takes us to the hidden recesses of the character's mind. This reveal. So the novelist takes us to that part of the character which is generally hidden.
That is hidden part.
Right, that is the hidden part, right? Generally, if you are not using the stream of consciousness novel technique, so generally it is not depicted the manner in which the stream of consciousness novel describes the thoughts or the feelings or the experiences of the character. It is not there in any other modes, right? So that is why here what I want to tell you is the revelation of the character's hidden recesses of ever changing consciousness means this, right? That it describes at whatever is hidden, generally hidden in other modes of explanation.
So by this it actually breaks the
Yes.
the wall between the readers and the novelist characters.
Yes. So generally, if we see that it is whatever is given, if it is other modes of if it is other narratives, the character or the thought of the character is presented by the author, right? Not by the character. Whatever is feeling described, it is in a way it is a feeling of author. But here, who is describing? Character himself. How he is describing, or he or she is describing whatever is coming in his mind. Right? So it is not organized in any way. And generally, we don't say, like right now I am talking to you, any other view is coming to my mind, but I am not going to tell you that what I am thinking. Right? That is the hidden thing.
And it may happen that the hidden thought may be missed by the readers.
Yes.
So this is a very good technique as far as that hidden thought is concerned. So it breaks that barrier between the character and the readers. Okay.
See, next slides, please. See, in the same respect, we are having the next slide. I am just going to read it. The Walter Allen says, with Joyce and Dorothy and Virginia, we are as readers are, as it were, at the cutting edge of the character's mind. So we feel whenever we are reading a stream of consciousness novel, we feel that we are the part of that character, right? We know thoroughly that character, what she or he is feeling, what he is doing, what thought he is there in his mind,
what kind of images are
coming, right? So that is what the hidden recess is discovered by this narrative technique. The next slide, please. That was the first characteristics of this narrative mode. Now the second one is narrative replaces the plot. Now what happened that before 20th century, if you see generally before 20th century, whenever a novelist is writing a novel, his first thought will be like, I need a well neat compact plot. Right? And the critics were looking for the compact well neat plots. But in the 20th century, the novelists like Virginia Woolf, the novelists like James Joyce, like Dorothy Richardson, they have changed the idea of this well organized, right? These well organized plot constructions. Now let's read the slide, please. The stream of consciousness novelists do not care for a well knit and compact plot. In order to keep the novel closer to the reality, the illusionary objective pattern and the framework of the novels are disposed of. Okay. Now, one more thing here is why they are not looking for the organized plot, right? Why they are not looking for the structure, proper structure? Because they think that in stream of consciousness novel or narrative, what they are describing is the consciousness in a sense, the whatever is coming in the mind of the character. Now in our life as well, nothing is happening in the organized manner, right? So we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, we don't know what is going to happen next day or a next moment. Like that, if life itself is not organized one, right? Life itself is not organized one, and the novelist of the stream of consciousness, they want to depict the life itself. If the life is not organized one, then the novel cannot be the organized one, right? And that is why if you want to depict the experiences as they are coming to the mind, you cannot be the well structured, you cannot have the well structured plot, right? And that is why we can say the novelists who are using this kind of narrative technique, a stream of consciousness narrative technique, they cannot use, or they don't like to use, they don't care for a well knit plot, because what they care for is the reality. What
coming
they
towards
want to
them.
depict is the reality. They want to show the life as it is, as it goes by, as the real characters. What I mean by here by real characters is a living human being, as they faces the life, they want to depict the same thing. And that is why what they are doing is they are not having the organized structured novel compact plot, but instead they are having this unorganized stream of
So it is very
consciousness.
important to keep the reality closer to novel, and all these objective patterns are also disposed of. So that is the main point, as the slides shows.
Okay, one more thing here is that if stream of consciousness novels are formless in structure and without pattern, because life itself seldom falls into a pattern, life is chaotic, incomplete and confusing. Thus the importance of the reality, they want to prove the importance of the reality, and that is why they are not caring for the structure or well knit plot. The last of the characteristics, or the third of our characteristics of the stream of consciousness novel is the exploration of pre-speech level of consciousness. Robert Humphrey defines the technique as a type of fiction in which the basic emphasis is placed on the exploration of the pre-speech level of the consciousness for the purpose primarily of the characters. See here, pre-speech level. Now, first sir will say what is, sir, your idea of
Yeah,
pre-speech
pre-speech
level.
means a kind of images, expression that comes before the language. The small baby, the baby starts speaking the language. Before that, the image is a kind of behavior that comes in a baby's mind is called a kind of pre-speech thing.
I sometimes I feel, that is my thought. Sometimes I feel that what is pre-speech is generally what is coming in the mind. They are of varied thoughts. They are varied thoughts. They are not organized
So before speaking.
before speaking. So here pre-speech means, I think it means that what is coming to your mind, that all the thoughts you are not speaking, right? So that may be the one part of pre-speech.
Pre-speech.
Okay, let's read this slide, please. Exploration of the pre-speech level of consciousness. Robert Humphrey defines the technique as a type of fiction in which the basic emphasis is placed on the exploration of the pre-speech level of consciousness for the purpose primarily of the characters. Here, one of the writers says, one of the critics says, that it tries to analyze the human nature, right? Human nature here means who the stream of consciousness tries to analyze the human nature. It tries to analyze the human nature. It deals with whatness and howness of the mental and spiritual experiences. Let's move on to the next slides, please. See, we have seen the characteristics of the stream of consciousness novel or a narrative technique. Now, the essential features which you can see in any passage or in any novel which is using or which is employing this technique, let's read that first. Essential features of the stream of consciousness technique. The most important features of stream of consciousness. First of them is focalization on inner thoughts and feelings. Second, no first person but figural narrative mode. Third one is the flow of thoughts is represented by the means of long winding interconnected sentences. use of informal colloquial language, denial of syntax, that means punctuation is neglected, grammatical and stylistic deviance. To explain these features, we will see the next example. The next slide, please. One more example of stream of consciousness technique. The example is taken from Virginia Woolf's novel To the Lighthouse. Raising her eyebrows at the discrepancy. That was what she was thinking. This was what she was doing, ladling out the soup. She felt more and more strongly outside that eddy, or as if shade had fallen and robbed of color. She saw not things truly. Let's examine our these example with these features, how these features are evident in this example. Switch on to the next one. Okay, so we can I have the example, sir? Can I have the example on the screen? Okay, see, raising her eyebrows at the discrepancy. Here we see, first of all, there is no first person narrative, right? In this example there is no first person narrative. Second, the focalization is on inner world of Mrs. Ramsay. The Mrs. Ramsay is novel's protagonist. Thinking and feeling as part of the mental process are emphasized. Third, the entire construction is actually just one singular sentence with a large amount of stylistic deviance. Now, if you see, the major writers who have contributed in the development of the stream of consciousness novel will be discussed by Professor Vispi Bikasar.
Discuss. Okay, so for major writers, using stream of consciousness as a technique, the narrative technique of stream of